Right. So today we are going deep, deep into the mind with The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard.
Oh, this is a good one.
Yeah.
This book is a trip, man. It's not just like,
Right.
think positive and everything will be fine.
Right. Right. It's like
It really gets into
gets into the nitty gritty.
yeah, how your consciousness shapes your reality,
Uh-huh.
how the assumptions you're making literally create the experiences you're having.
Exactly. And he starts with this really intriguing idea of I am.
Yeah, I am.
Not,
Not like your name.
your name, your job.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Not who you think you are in the world.
He's talking about something much deeper.
The core of your being, like that awareness that's always there, regardless of what's going on in your life.
Okay, so it's like the unchanging backdrop.
Exactly.
But how is that different from our everyday sense of self?
Oh, that's a great question.
Like,
I think a good analogy here is to think about a magnet, right? Like you have a piece of steel that's magnetized.
Okay.
It's still steel.
Right,
The substance hasn't changed,
right.
but the arrangement of the molecules is different.
Okay.
And that's what Goddard's saying, that like different life experiences
Okay.
aren't different minds, but different arrangements of the same mind.
So we're all just expressions of this one.
Of that one, I am.
Fundamental awareness. And it's like we experience ourselves separately because
This is how our consciousness is arranged, yeah.
that's wild.
It's a pretty radical idea.
Yeah.
But it's powerful because if that's true, then it means we have the power to rearrange things.
So then that brings us to this principle, the power of assumption.
Yeah, like that's the cornerstone of Goddard's whole thing.
Okay.
He's saying that what you assume to be true about yourself and about the world
Uh-huh.
literally shapes your reality.
But how, that just sounds like positive thinking with a different name.
Right, but he gives actual examples, like real life stories
Oh,
of
yeah,
how this works.
Okay.
Like there's this one about a costume designer who's constantly clashing with her boss.
Right.
She's convinced that he is just a difficult person.
Right.
And, that assumption's kind of reflected in all their interactions.
Yeah, so she's trapped in this negative cycle.
Exactly.
And what did she do?
So Goddard challenged her to change her assumption about this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of focusing on all his perceived flaws,
Okay.
to start imagining him being really supportive and appreciative of her work.
And that changed his behavior.
That's what happened. Yeah, he completely shifted.
Wow.
Started praising her designs, offering encouragement. Their working relationship totally transformed.
So it's like her changed assumption created a ripple effect.
Yeah,
Like it influenced him even without her saying anything to him directly.
that's the power of assumption.
That is mind-blowing.
It's crazy, right? It makes you think about like how much of our reality is actually shaped by the stuff that we're not even aware of, the assumptions that are running in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, all those unconscious beliefs that we're carrying around.
Exactly, but it's not always easy to just like flip a switch and change those things.
Right.
It takes work. Goddard talks about this idea of controlled imagination and focused attention.
Okay, so you can't just like passively hope for things to be different.
No, you got to actively cultivate the assumptions you want to experience.
So it's not just about daydreaming about a better reality.
It's about actively imagining it, feeling it as if it's already happening.
And that's where desire and imagination come in.
Yeah, desire is the fuel. It's the spark.
Okay.
Like that initial longing that you have.
Right.
That's what motivates you to start using your imagination, to even envision a different reality for yourself.
Right. Right.
And then imagination becomes the tool.
It bridges that gap between where you are and where you want to be.
Exactly. It's like that metaphor he uses about the moth being drawn to the flame.
Oh, yeah.
Completely consumed by its desire.
And you have to be completely surrendered
You have to be all in.
to that desire.
That's what he's saying, yeah.
Okay.
But there's another crucial element that he brings in, renunciation.
Okay, so we've got desire, imagination, and now renunciation.
Yeah.
How did that work?
So he makes this distinction between resisting unwanted experiences and renouncing them.
Okay.
When you resist something, you're still giving it your attention.
Right.
You're keeping it alive in your mind.
You're feeding it.
Exactly. But renouncing it means shifting your focus completely.
Okay.
Turning your attention towards the reality you actually want.
So it's not about pretending that the negative doesn't exist.
It's about choosing where you want to put your energy.
Okay, so you're replacing those negative states with positive ones.
Exactly. Not by force, but by just shifting your awareness.
So it's like that line from Isaiah, giving beauty for ashes, joy for mourning.
Yeah, praise for the spirit of heaviness.
Right. So instead of dwelling on what's wrong, you focus on what you want to be right.
Exactly.
But how do you actually do that?
That's where acceptance comes in. Goddard says that accepting the reality you desire is crucial for it to manifest.
So it's like you're opening the door for it to come in.
Yeah, like opening the windows of heaven for blessings to flow in.
Okay, so it's desire fuels the imagination, renunciation clears the path.
And acceptance opens the door.
This is starting to sound almost effortless.
Well, that brings us to another key concept, the effortless way.
Okay, how does that fit in?
So Goddard introduces this principle of least action. It governs everything in physics.
Right.
It's about finding the most efficient path, the one that requires the least amount of energy.
Okay.
And he's saying that the law of assumption operates in alignment with this principle.
Interesting. So you don't have to struggle.
You don't have to force things to happen.
It's about aligning your consciousness with what you want.
Exactly. Not about willpower or brute force.
This is so fascinating.
It's pretty mind-blowing stuff.
But does he give us any practical techniques to actually put this into practice?
Oh, absolutely. And that's what we're going to dive into in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, I can't wait.
You're going to get into Goddard's specific techniques for effective assumption.
Okay, cool.
Like things you can start using right away to shape your reality and create the life you want.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
So we've talked about I am, the power of assumption, and the effortless way.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, it is. But it's like the groundwork,
Right, the foundation.
So now let's get practical.
Let's do it.
What are the techniques?
Okay, so Goddard outlines 3 key steps for effective assumption.
Okay.
Desire, physical immobility, and experiencing the wish fulfilled in imagination.
Okay, break those down.
So first, you got to have that burning desire,
Okay.
like a deep longing for what you want.
Not just a casual, it would be nice.
No. This is like a powerful driving force.
That fire in the belly.
Exactly. It's the fuel for the whole process.
Okay, I got the burning desire.
Okay, good.
What's next? Physical immobility.
Yeah, right. This one sounds kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah, aren't we supposed to be taking action towards our goals?
He's not saying be passive. It's more about creating the right environment for focused attention.
Okay.
Think of it like this. When your body's still, your mind can quiet down easier.
So it's about finding those moments.
Yeah, like after a meal.
Where your body is naturally inclined towards stillness.
Exactly.
Okay.
And using that stillness to focus your mental energy.
On your desires.
Right. You're taking a pause from the external world to connect with your inner world.
That makes sense.
Your imagination.
Okay, so now we've got the desire, the stillness, and then what?
Then comes the big one, experiencing the wish fulfilled in imagination.
This is where we use the power of our imagination.
Yes, to fully immerse yourself in the feeling of your desire already being realized.
It's not just visualizing, right?
No, it's about embodying the feeling state of having what you want.
So we're not just watching the movie, we're starring in it.
Exactly. If you're feeling all the emotions, all the sensations.
Okay, but even with all this talk about imagination and feeling states, it still seems a bit mystical.
Well, he does get into the more spiritual side of things.
Okay.
He talks about this concept called the crown of the mysteries,
Okay.
which is essentially the highest use of consciousness.
Okay, what does that mean?
It's about not just imagining your desire,
Okay.
but truly feeling it as if it's already happened.
With absolute certainty.
Yes, like complete conviction.
He even compares it to the Immaculate Conception.
It's a bold analogy.
Yeah, it is.
But I think the point he's making is that it's about an idea being born in your mind
Okay.
and then you nurturing it into reality through focused assumption.
So it's like bypassing the limitations of time and space.
Exactly. You're creating a new reality in your mind.
And that then spills over into the physical world.
That's the idea.
But that sounds like we have to be masters of our minds.
Well, that brings us to another interesting concept he explores. Personal impotence.
Personal impotence. That sounds counterintuitive in a book about personal power.
It does, right?
Yeah.
But it's a paradox. He's highlighting this idea that you have this immense power to shape your reality through your assumptions, but you can't force anything into being.
So we're not creating our desires out of thin air.
Right. You're aligning yourself with a reality that already exists.
Okay. And that requires surrender.
Surrender. Yeah.
Not giving up, but yielding to the power of imagination.
Letting go of the need to control every little detail.
Okay, but that doesn't mean we just sit back and wait for things to happen, right?
No, not at all. Goddard is very clear about that. He emphasizes being doers of the word.
Not just hearers.
Right. It's not enough to just understand these principles intellectually.
It's to put them into practice.
You got to actively use your imagination to create the life you want.
It's like looking in the mirror.
Okay.
You might see a fleeting glimpse of your potential, but if you don't take action...
You forget what you saw.
Exactly.
So you got to make a conscious choice to live by these principles.
To embody the reality you want.
Exactly. He calls the law of assumption the perfect law of liberty.
Because it's the key to liberating ourselves from limitations.
And creating a life of joy, abundance, and fulfillment.
But even with all this understanding,
Yeah,
there's going to be moments of doubt,
there are.
where things don't seem to be working,
Absolutely.
where our desires aren't manifesting.
That's life.
Right. So what does he say about that?
Well, that's what we'll be diving into in the final part of our deep dive.
Oh,
We'll explore how to deal with those setbacks,
okay.
how to cultivate persistence and unwavering faith in the power of your imagination,
Okay.
and ultimately how to embrace the limitless possibilities that await you when you fully embrace the power of awareness.
Sounds good. I'm ready. All right. So we've covered a lot of ground with Goddard's The Power of Awareness.
It's mind-bending stuff,
It really is.
but it's also really exciting.
Yeah, totally. So now that we're wrapping up, what are the key takeaways?
I think it's like we've been putting together this puzzle piece by piece, and now we can step back and see the whole picture, right?
Yeah.
Like the full image that Goddard is painting of our own creative potential.
So we're not victims of circumstance.
Exactly. You're the architect of your reality.
Powerful stuff.
Yes.
So it's about consciously choosing the reality we want to experience.
Right. And then aligning your thoughts, feelings, and actions with that.
And Goddard gives us the tools to do just that.
Yeah. Remember those 3 key steps.
Desire, physical immobility, and experiencing the wish fulfilled in imagination.
Those are the building blocks.
Yeah, the foundation.
And it all starts with that burning desire.
Right, that deep yearning.
It's like the fuel.
It's what gets you going.
Exactly. Without fuel, you're not going anywhere.
Then you need to create space for your imagination to work its magic.
Right. That's where physical immobility comes in.
Finding those moments of stillness.
After a meal, first thing in the morning.
It's about going inward.
Exactly.
Okay, and then the most crucial step.
Experiencing the wish fulfilled in imagination.
It's not just visualizing, it's about feeling it.
Embodying the feeling state of having what you want.
Like you said, we're not just watching the movie, we're starring in it.
That's the key.
But what about when things get tough?
Oh, yeah, there will be bumps in the road.
When our desires aren't manifesting, what then?
Well, Goddard says persistence is key.
You can't just give up at the first sign of resistance.
Exactly. It's about unwavering faith in the power of your imagination.
Even when the external world seems to be saying otherwise.
It's a challenge, but it's worth it.
Because remember, the law of assumption is the perfect law of liberty.
Freedom from limitations.
Creating a life of joy, abundance, and fulfillment.
It's all possible.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the power of awareness,
Yeah.
what final thoughts do you have for our listeners?
I think the biggest takeaway is that you have the power to shape your reality, to create a life that aligns with your deepest desires.
But it's a responsibility, too.
It is. Use this power wisely.
Align your desires with the highest good.
For yourself and for everyone.
So ask yourself, what reality do I want to create?
What assumptions am I holding that might be holding me back?
And what actions can I take to align myself with the life I desire?
Embrace the effortless way.
Surrender to the power within you. Trust the process.
Watch your dreams unfold.
The world is yours to create.
What will you choose?
That's a great question to leave our listeners with.
Yeah, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on this book.
Share your insights, your challenges, your triumphs down in the comments.
Let's keep this conversation going.
And explore together the boundless possibilities of the power of awareness.